Hello my dear friends, my name is Samir. In today's video we are going to learn closures by solving this lead code problem, and because this lead code problem is already based on purely based on this thing closures, right? So I'll quickly read out the problem statement for you guys. Given an integer n, return a counter function. This counter function initially returns n, then returns one more than the previous value every subsequent time it is called. So for the first time we are passing in 10, okay, and so it will return 10 for the first time, then 11, 12. Like here also in the example 1, we are passing 10. If we call it for 3 times, first it will return 10, 11 and 12. Here as well, minus 2, then it will return minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 or 2, and it will go on as long as you are invoking the function. Okay, so the problem statement is pretty simple, but the solution is a bit tricky. So you need to stay with me till the end of this video to understand how closures are working in JavaScript. Okay, and I've also written the solution over here, right? So the solution is written n plus plus. So what we are doing is we are incrementing the n value from here, which we get it from here, and after incrementing, this code will work. But this is not it, guys. If you are not familiar with closures, you won't be able to solve this problem. Like copying can do copying can like help you, but when you go out in the real world, you won't be solving the problem in closures, because the closures is same but the problem statements are different, so you might get confused. So to get the most out of this video, you need to stick till the end of this video, right? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go back to our VS Code and we will break down each and every component of this function, and we will understand in deep how closures are working. So here I am in my VS Code, okay, and here we will break down how this closures are constructed and how we are using it in our solution, right? So here we have a create counter function, okay, and this create counter function is a function which is returning another function, or we can say that it is it has the inner function which has been returned, okay. And when we write this statement, okay, what do you think that what would be the output of the counter? If I am over here, let me clear this, okay. If I am over here and I print it in console counter, what do you think it would be? Would it be 10, 11, 12? What? Let's see. Let me run this file. Now we can see that we are not getting 10, 11 and 12. Nothing. We have got some vague output, right? It is function. I'll tell you why we are getting function. So we need to go back and retrospect this function. So here in create counter, we are returning a function. So when we are invoking this function, this return statement would be thrown out from this function, okay, meaning that it will give us this value, right? Because it is the inner function. To invoke this function, we need to pass it over here, like we need to call it over here like this way, right? So now we are getting 10 and instead of this function expression. But you'll ask me that we have not passed 10 over here, how come we are getting 10, right? I'll tell you why we are getting 10. Because this n is being accessed from here, okay, and when this create counter function has returned a function, it has also returned its parent scope with it, okay. And inside that parent scope we have the argument, okay. We have an argument as a part of the parent scope which has been returned, and this value is being passed by the reference because it is in the object. And if you see the arguments are the objects, right? And these arguments are passed by the reference. So here in the create counter function, we have assigned something like that. So we have not only assigned the counter function, like we need to go on like a kind of hypothetical way, right? So here create const hypothetical counter. Okay, so we have a hypothetical counter, and this is just for the sake of explanation. Okay, and when we are assigning this hypothetical like when we are assigning this hypothetically, this particular statement is being is being executed, right? So what we are returning is uh, we have we are giving it a function as well as the args, right? Sorry about my typo. So we are not only giving it the function, we are also giving it the access of args. And what is args? Args has the value of n, right? So args has n. So this is not a practical thing, this is just an hypothetical example to make you understand, guys. So here over here I'm deleting this line again, or we can comment this, we are not deleting it. Okay, so over here when you are when we are returning the function, okay, we have also given it a reference of this n. Okay, so initially this n was how much? 10, and when we have invoked it we got 10. And now we will say that we should get 11, we have incremented it, but this increment is like is the not the beforehand increment, it is the afterhand increment. Okay, like our function will return the n even before operating like completing this operation, this increment operation. It will return the n value before doing this operation. So that is why we are getting the initial value as 10 instead of 11. Okay, and if you delete this line, okay, and if you say that n equals to n plus 1, and if you do it over here, or not like that also, if you have done n plus plus over here and if you return n over here, so what do you think you will get? So instead of 10 you will now get let me clear the console. So instead of 10, okay, now we will get 11. Okay, now I have implemented it like this way. So that is the similar thing over here, but when you are writing this particular statement over here, n is being returned before this operation is executed in our code. So that is the reason why we are getting the initial value of 10 instead of 11. Okay, because we are invoking the, and this means that this n plus plus means that we have incrementing this hypothetical argument over here. So that is the closure, right? So once more, guys, I am explaining it again. Once if we are returning a function, we are also returning its parent scope with it. That is the closure, because that function is forming a closure, and inside the closure it has the argument, and the variables which you declare over here will also be part of the closures, right? Let's say you have a name over here, and I'll call it name. Let name equals to Samir, right? And so what we can do is we can also concat this name as well, name plus n plus plus, and if you see that we will get Samir 10 on the first invocation, then we will get Samir 11, Samir 12, like that way, because after assigning this function, since the closure has been formed around this function, so this is our function which has been returned, and the closure which has formed is from this scope till here, from here till here. Okay, it has arguments as well, and the properties or the variables which are declared in this block is also being accessed by that closure. Okay, so here if I invoke, let me run this file again. Yeah, now we are getting Samir 10. Again over here, console.log counter, we should get Samir 11, Samir 10 and Samir 11 because there are two console statement over here. So that is it guys, that is closure. And if you want to understand this closure one to one, like with me on call, I'll leave my number in the description. If you still not understand the closure, I will make sure you understand it. Okay, since my channel is very small, I'll hardly get any calls, so I have free time to teach you guys. If you want to understand closures, feel free to call me. Okay, so that is it guys. If you like this content, if you like my efforts, you can consider liking to this video, and you can also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more such videos like this. So thanks for watching guys, and have a nice day.